I know you're listening. You're here because something isn't right. Something feels twisted, upside down. Things don't add up. Hello, human. Welcome to our twisted universe. Hello, human. In this episode, the Inked Intuitive returns to chat with us about what it's like on the other side, with special guest Jasmine, the Inked Intuitive, and our hosts Joe and Christy. Hello, human.
Hi, and welcome to our Twisted Universe. Today, we're going to be doing a little deep dive and some esoteric conversations with Jasmine, the Inked Intuitive. Hi, Jasmine.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm really excited to be a part of this and get all the tea and, all the questions, and just looking forward to the authentic conversation that's going to be happening today.
This one's going to be great. We're connecting. Have you had a chance to connect with the other side yet?
Yes. Referencing some of the photos earlier. Yes, I have, very quickly and very easily. And there's a lot of messages going on there.
That's so exciting. All right, just for our viewers, Jasmine has connected to my father, who passed away a couple of years ago. So, and he's usually a fun person to talk to. And so
yeah,
we thought we would ask him some crazy questions today. Okay, is there anything you want to bring forward before I start?
Sure. So when making connections to those that have, crossed over into the other side, I do not need my tarot cards. In the event that I do, that is not me pulling them. That is the other person, pulling them based on the messages that they feel that they need you to know. But I already have a lot of messages coming in from him. He was actually very easy to connect to. With some of his inappropriate comments, it made it easy to connect. He was a little flirtatious, which was funny.
To see why. That's so funny. Oh my God.
No, very easy to connect to. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It just cracks me up. I think it's adorable. Okay, so we're gonna ask like some crazy stuff today. Let's see. I want to know what the death process is like.
Okay. From his perspective, or what I believe it is in general?
Maybe both. If you have something.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah. So one thing is, I'm going to be the first to tell you, even though I am a psychic medium, death is very scary, at least to me, because we can connect with the other side all day. We can know what's happening. We can use different tools to assist us, but it is something that is unknown, for a lot of us, which is why I'm glad I am not a clairvoyant medium. I'm a clairaudient medium. So I get my messages through hearing, not necessarily through seeing all the time. But in the event of death, I do believe that our spirits, as the famous law goes, energy is neither lost or gained, it is only transferred. I believe that our spirit goes into another, I don't want to say it's a realm. Sounds like a video game. It sounds like a video game. I want to say that our spirits go to another type of universe to wait to come back to be reincarnated, which is why you may see people that you understand, though you've never met them, or there's an instant connection. What I do find a lot that tends to happen when I connect with those that have passed over, the initial shock, if the death was not anticipated, and I hate to get a little dark here, but if the death was not anticipated, a car accident, a murder, a heart attack, those are the hardest people to contact a lot of the times, because they're still trying to process what the hell happened. I have had to connect to a little girl who was 3, for another client. And that was probably the hardest thing that I've ever done, because what people don't understand is who they were as a person is still who they are in spirit. Okay. So, and, I can talk about that all day, but, a 3-year-old, they're very pew, 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 all over the place. So when you're trying to connect to them, you're trying to, not literally, but metaphorically run behind them and decode and see what's going on. So when deaths aren't anticipated, I feel that the process for them to transition to the other side is actually a little harder because they didn't have time to kind of gear up, get ready, mentally prepare, spiritually prepare. Their lives were just wiped unexpectedly. The other half of the situation, those that have been battling things for a long time, whether that be cancer or a terminal illness, a lot of them have made peace by the time they even transition. So what I have felt in doing readings for those people who are alive and both deceased, their souls are in a way split. Their part of their soul is there to help with the basic physical needs if that person is on life support and whatnot. But the other half, it's very strange. The other half is already kind of looking omnisciently at everything that's going on. So they know when they transition, who do I need to care for? Who am I still going to be mad at? What do I need to prepare for? Because that is, like I said, I cannot stress that enough to anybody who is watching or anyone who is listening. Who they are as a person is still who they are in spirit. And I don't know if I told you this before, a woman had me try to contact her father as well. And, when I made contact, just real nasty, like inward this, inward that, just very angry. And I looked at the young lady, I was like, was your father a little racist? And she was just so embarrassed because she thought that, oh, well, he'd outgrow that. Yeah. No, like I was like, those are things that you need to let me know as a Black woman, before like I make that contact. But to answer your question, going back, when people, pass over or transition, they're still the same, but I believe there's a waiting period, an adjustment period, and then how are they going to use their energy until they reincarnate? Yes.
You'd think that, having access to all that extra information, people would elevate.
No, but that's exactly why in the work that I do with Hoodoo, I know which ancestors I'm going to call on, to get certain things done. If I need to call on a certain ancestor to bring me peace and serenity, that's most likely going to be my grandmother. If I want to like F it up, like come in swinging, I'm going to call in that one ghetto cousin, that I knew growing up that was always rambunctious, or I'm going to call in my granddad. Like you have to know who to call in at a certain time to guide you through certain things because they don't change as people. They realize, now I will say this, they realize their shortcomings once they've transitioned that they dealt with while they were living. That doesn't mean that changes elements of their personality. So my grandmother and my grandfather, for example, when I'm doing readings, they will not talk to each other because they divorced in the world of the living. Okay. It was crazy. My grandfather was an alcoholic at one point and severely beat my grandmother, and she escaped with her children. And so as long as I can remember, even when I was born, I always went to separate houses to see them. So even though their spirits are constantly present and I can call on one or another to get information, my grandmother and my grandfather will directly speak to me. They will not speak to each other because of what has happened in the world of the living.
Tell so-and-so that I don't agree with them.
Right. That's exactly what it sounds like. Like you can hear me being a clairaudient. I can hear the scoffs, like I can hear that. I can hear very clearly, and I have to go, stop. Like I have to do that because they will try to interfere with each other's messages because they're still bitter with some things. But they can agree that we're going to help Jasmine out. They can agree on that. So that is very, very true.
That's an interesting thought for our viewers. So if you do call upon spirit when you need help, like Jasmine was saying, maybe you're going to direct the energy towards somebody who's better equipped in life and in death. I never thought of that or even considered it.
Just because you're dead
doesn't
mean you're enlightened.
Right.
Right. Absolutely. And I think that's where a lot of people have it confused. They think, oh, well, I've transitioned, so now I've elevated. No, no, you can still be hood AF. And that is totally appropriate because those are spirits that you need to call on for protection. You're not going to call on, if I had an ancestor or relative that was a male man or a male woman, I'm not going to call on them when I'm trying to protect my house. I'm going to call on, like, yo, let's strap up, let's go. I'm going to call on that ancestor who was in and out of jail, okay, to know I'm not, like, this household is not to be played with. There are certain people and spirits that you call on for certain things. Definitely. I would never call on my like any of my extended family who's passed away to bring peace. I would call on my grandmother for that. And then there are ancestors known and unknown. And sometimes when certain things have to get done, or if I have to get certain messages, I have to ask, send me an ancestor who is familiar with the law to help me help this client in their court case. Send me an ancestor who knew the system inside and out, who can help me give this attorney, advice, because attorneys do call me from Los Angeles or, anywhere. They'll just ask, have I gone over, because they know how to do it legally, right? Have I missed anything before this court date in terms of evidence? And I'll ask to speak to an ancestor who knows that. And they'll say, no, you pretty much got everything, or this isn't looking good. You may want to bust out the big guns or something like that, because they can't tell me the details of the case. But that's very common. And that just goes to show the ancestor that I would call on, somebody who knows the law, someone who was in and out of government, stuff. I wouldn't call on my hood cousin for that, because they just be like, F the police. Like I wouldn't call on, I wouldn't call on them for that information. No.
Gosh, that's funny. Oh, that's interesting though.
So if you set things up tonight, you should probably call on your dad
Well,
to
we
liven
have,
up the party.
we did.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Do we have a set death time, and can that change? Is it predetermined?
So this is let me sip my coffee real quick because I have a lot to say about this. Okay. Do we have a set death time? From my honest opinion, I really don't know. I could sit here and BS you both and be like, well, yeah, because if you look at this place on your palm, it's either long or short. But then I can't fix my mouth to say that when there are 2-year-olds being taken from families because of leukemia. I don't understand why any being, universe, or entity would want to do that to an innocent 2-year-old child. Do I believe that we have a set time for things? I think, oh, this got deep real quick. Hold on. I believe that everybody has a time when it's their time to go, but it's not a reflection on that person. It's a reflection on the lessons that they're supposed to teach those that are still living. So with a 2-year-old who may have passed from leukemia, part of the lesson to that family or that parent, even though it seems very cold, may be to cherish time, prepare for the unexpected. Sometimes, it's a beautiful thing when couples have children and they're putting the cart before the horse. They're already saving for that baby's college education, but they may not see past 7, right? Like you have to live in the now, like right now. Like, yes, we need to prepare for things. But as far as set times, I really do not know. I really do not know. And part of that is coming from my own life experience and bias, where I have been very angry when some people have transitioned, like why they were in their prime. And, what was the point of this? They had so much to give the world. But then again, I have to humble myself and go, well, what is that teaching me? Is that teaching me to step out of my box? So I really don't know if somebody has a set time that's aligned to them. I think that they may have a set time that creates the domino effect for those that are still living, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I have a thought on that. So, for instance, the 2-year-old that dies of leukemia,
you have a soul family, and maybe before you incarnate, you're working out what lessons do each of the members want to learn, and maybe the soul who ends up in the baby's body volunteers and says, well, I'll play that role, and you can learn from that experience, and I'll have a perspective from the other side, from the other end of it, and then they live that life experience together.
Right.
I have a meeting, but I can play the baby.
Right. No, I completely understand where you're coming from with that, because I have heard very similar outlooks. Like there's a role, or the soul contracts, right? Like I agree that I'm going to come in and go through this in order to learn this, because I didn't get it right in the last lifetime. So yes, definitely, that is 100% valid. But I think some of the allure that comes with that is we don't know, because I can connect all day, but because my gifts are refined to one or two things, I don't know what that feels like. I can't see that all the time. So it's very exciting. And that's why I'm the first one to tell people, I don't know. Like, I'm not going to sit here like a guru and be like, oh, let me tell you on this timeline, because I don't have it. Like, I'm going to be like, I don't know.
Have you anybody that passed over? I mean, have you ever asked that direct question?
You know what? I have not. And here's the reason why I haven't asked them what happens. I want to treat them as if they're still here.
Yeah.
I want to treat them as if they're still here. We know that, like, we know in the flesh that they're no longer here, but I talk to them as if they're still here. So every morning when I'm driving to work, that's my time to talk to spirit, the ancestors, and everything else. And sometimes they just listen, and other times it's a back and forth phone conversation. I never say things like, such and such, when you were alive, I remember we did this. I never refer to them that way. I say, do you remember in 1996 when this happened? Da, 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 da? Because they are still a living thing. They're just no longer a tangible thing.
Yeah, I believe that. Let's see. Do we reincarnate on Earth or elsewhere?
Both. Definitely both. This goes back to the soul contracts. This goes back to soulmates, because a lot of people confuse twin flames with soulmates and things like that. I feel that a person reincarnating back to, a living thing, that person that you connect with, not even on a romantic level, but you just understand, the reason why you look at that person and you just know is because you have met in a different lifetime. You don't know why you connect that way. You don't know why you both can make each other laugh when you both hate people, but it's because you have connected somewhere else. And you just so happen to be back on this same earthly plane to meet one another again. Now, I also do believe, for example, just using my grandmother, because she is the one who I talk to the most frequently. I have not seen, since she has passed, anybody that makes me go, that's grandma, reincarnated or anything like that. I startle myself when I'm in the mirror and I hit a certain angle and I see her in my face, like, certain facial features and whatnot. But just because I have not seen it does not mean that she will not or cannot reincarnate somewhere else. And who knows, the script may be flipped. She may reincarnate when I pass, and now we're calling on each other. So I do believe that you can reincarnate back to the earthly plane or stay somewhere in another. I don't want to use the word realm because I feel like it is a video game, and I have nothing against video games.
School EverQuest.
like, something. So I definitely feel that you can reincarnate back to the earthly plane, but one does not have to if they're not ready.
Right.
We're kind of curious what Christy's dad is doing over there on the other side. What's he up to?
I mean, are they golfing, fishing?
So let me tell you, when I made a connection, Am I allowed to curse on the show?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. He was funny as shit. It was very clear. He was a he is a person of getting things done, but he didn't take life too seriously. He could always laugh in like the most inappropriate situations. He's that one person, if I can describe the feeling I got when I connected. You know how we all have that one friend who is just absolutely hilarious, but they don't know that they're funny? And then you're just laughing and they're like, what's so funny? And you're cracking up because they're being serious. That's just who they are. That's the energy that I got from him when I connected. Like, you were the person that said the stuff at the dinner table that was the truth, but inappropriate, but nobody could get mad at you for it, type of thing. But he's definitely a person of humor, but he's equal humor and equal logic. Now, his biggest fear, something that he told me, is time. He did not feel that he had enough time. He's content with where he is, but he feels that there's the words he used was not unfinished, but loose ends. Loose ends. There's still loose ends that he could have worked with or wanted to be present for. Because it's not that he was. I don't feel that he was fighting anything, but this was definitely, it was something that was expected-ish, but like, can I have a few more minutes type of thing, his passing. It wasn't something that he had completely made peace with, but it was something that we kind of knew it was coming. We knew that we were dealing with, but he still wanted more time. The main message that he had for you is around your children.
Oh, really?
Okay. Yes. Like are those who you raise, any, because it doesn't have to be your biological children as well. What he told me to tell you is you are a good role model. You often beat yourself up about that. Am I doing enough? Am I showing enough? Am I putting forth, the effort? You are a good role model to, your children or these children that are around you. You are a good role model. They see him through you. You still keep him alive. He knows you have not forgotten. And it's okay to, thank you. He also said it's okay to continue to live your life and not feel guilt because you didn't think about him that day. You worry about that. You worry about, well, am I going to keep him alive in thought and in spirit because I got so caught up doing the grocery list? He knows that. He actually said that you're very scatterbrained. So he's laughing about that. He knows that you're very scatterbrained. But he he said nothing new there. But it's okay for you to continue to do things in the world of the living and keep him alive. You're very conflicted with that. You feel if you don't think about or act on so much that his memory will fade, the closeness will fade. He's not concerned about that, so you need to release that guilt. Now, as far as spare time, I'm not
over there.
yeah, I was like, as far as spare time, he used to be a busybody, but now he's very chill. Like, moves like, not like molasses slow, but he'll get to it when he gets to it, type of thing. But he was very active, but outdoors, which is interesting because I don't do outdoors. So I smell like grass. I smell like a lot of grass. I smell like nature outside. But winter was his favorite season. Winter, he loved winter. But the thing he didn't, what he said is he didn't have patience for summer. He did not have patience for summer, but he loved winter, but didn't have patience for summer. So as far as what he's doing, it's not quite as well. Are they golfing? Are they having a couple of beers? Are they drinking? It's not like, it's not that image that you get. It's a feeling of, I'm still moving about, but I'm at peace, right? Very easygoing, loves to laugh, loves to joke. Like I said, he thought I was cute. Um, he thought I was cute. Coming like he knows how to make jokes, but not be inappropriate or like offensive because he could get along with a lot of people. So he knew when to just stop. He knew, but very sweet individual. But it doesn't work like, or are they golfing, or are they fishing, or are they doing, it doesn't work like that. It's a feeling you get of fluidity, or is it stagnation, or is it, anxious energy? No, it's very fluid and very relaxed at this point. But the only thing that I am feeling is, even in that moment of fluidity and being relaxed, you have to imagine someone cutting their eyes, like to make sure things are still okay on the other side. Like he's doing his own thing, but he's still like, we good? We good over here? But like I said, the one thing that he was very clear about is with you, you're doing enough. And he knows and accepts that you're a scatterbrain. Like you can't fight that you're a scatterbrain. Okay. He knows that. He knows and accepts that. You can't change that. Continue to do what you're doing. It's not discrediting or giving him less time or less memory. That is something that really bothers you. Now, in terms of passing, I'm feeling something in the chest. What happened? Do you mind if I ask what happened?
He it's not a great story. Shenanigans at the hospital, but he was put on a respiratory.
Okay, that's why I felt something in the chest. Take your time. Take your time.
Well, there's a protocol there that we didn't agree with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And felt like he didn't receive the care that he was supposed to have.
And that's why it would make sense where I said it was something that wasn't out of the blue. It was very 50-50. Like, we know this is coming, but I still need more time. And what I felt very strongly was something in the chest.
Yeah.
Just now. So like I said, he was very easy to connect with. He made a comment about my hair first. But it was not an inappropriate comment. He was talking about like how it was like he was shocked at like how big it was. Like, okay, like this is what we're doing, type of thing. But for me to
he loves to tease people. He loves to tease people. Loves it.
Yes. But for me to feel that in the chest, in my physical body, typically what I feel in my physical body is how someone passed. So if I get a stabbing pain behind my eye and it's very sudden, which has happened in readings before, like, okay, I'm feeling something in the eye. What's going on? Well, they were shot in the head. Oh, okay. Like things like that. So I definitely felt a resistance and a heaviness in the chest. And that's typically what I save for last, because, this is, if you're not familiar with this universe, the metaphysics, it can sound a little, they're making that up. But that's why I say, well, this is how they pass, because I'm feeling something in the chest. And I ask that spirit to allow me to feel, to a small degree, how did you go? If I get very tired and my muscles get tight, that person went in their sleep. If it is a very targeted pain or resistance somewhere, that's what I tell, the people who I'm reading for sure.
I experience a little bit of that because I do Reiki, and I know you're not supposed to let it pass through, but it's almost like the more intense the trauma and the garbage that they're trying to purge, like it goes through my stomach.
Yes.
And so I get really like intense feelings through there, and it just passes. But I mean, some are just like light trickles and others are like, so,
oh yeah. I have had a client, not taking up too much of you guys' time. I had a client one time. This is one of the few people I feel I could not help. Like, I don't know if you ever saw that TikTok of the black guy at the hotel desk, and he's like, it's above me now. Like, that's how I felt. Like, this is above me. Like, I can't do it. This gentleman came in with so much going on. He was in the middle of what I call a mounting. Okay. Not a full-on possession of another spirit or entity. He was in the phase of what is called an attempted mounting. So this was when something was trying, but he was still conscious enough to know this isn't me trying to fight it off. Yeah. When that person walked by and sat at my table, I said, Lord, I said, Allah, universe, whoever, I said, please don't let this person sit at my table. And lo and behold, they sat at my table. And I just felt, going back to what you were saying, the gentleman was talking and I could hear the fear in the human side voice, but it's kind of like a distorted horror movie, when the voices get strange and you're listening. And I felt nauseous and I almost lost it at my table. I said, excuse me. And I had to run to the bathroom. Well, after I did a reading for that gentleman and let him know who he should go see, my boyfriend also does Reiki. And I came home, I said, you got to do something with this. And he pulled whatever it was out, and we both had a wave of nausea, a flash of black, and we're both ill for 2 days.
I think
so yeah.
That's demonic for sure.
Yes.
Chance, for sure.
Yeah, it was terrifying because you could tell he was like, somebody help me. But did you ever watch True Blood?
Yeah.
Okay, so you remember when Jessica was first turned and she came out and she's like, help me, like that. She didn't know what she was yet. Yeah. That's where he was. That's where he was.
Yeah, because
that's exactly where he was. And trust me, I was not Bill. I was like, oh, let me send you to somebody.
I don't play with that either. No.
It's very serious.
Because I mean, having abilities, you're used to being able to help people and purge out like, light, dark, that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But when it's like seriously hardcore demonic, that's like something a whole nother level. I mean, that's just.
I'm gonna have to send you guys the TikTok that it's above me now. Like it's above me, because that is also something I think that's very important. And I'm glad that you mentioned that. A practitioner, I tell people that I mentor, is like a tattoo artist. Okay, you know what you can do, and you know what you can't do. Me as a woman of color, the first thing that I do when going to go get a tattoo is I ask to see two things. One, may I see your work healed? And two, do you have any work done on people of color? Right? Because if I walk in a tattoo shop and somebody who is not of African or African-American descent goes, oh yeah, we can put in all this color for you and da-da-da. No, like you have to know what your limits are. And being a practitioner is the exact same, because it's a red flag when I come across practitioners who go, oh, well, I can do everything. I can do conjure, I can do Reiki, I can do readings, I can do mediumship, I can do divination, I can do, and it just makes me think of one thing my dance teacher always told me. She said, Jasmine, you can either be good at everything or be great at one thing. And that's something that, a real practitioner knows. Like, when is this beyond me? When I'm not equipped to deal with, some of these things. So for sure, exactly as you were saying.
We met a demon once. It was
that's real. That is real shit. That is real stuff.
It is. It was a 3-hour battle. Yeah. Literally. And we were wiped out. I mean, like PTSD, I'm going to say 100%, but it was months of just completely drained energy. And I don't know.
Process.
Traumatic. It was traumatic. And, when you're dealing with something like vile and disgusting and supernatural, and, I'm we're not priests. We haven't been trained.
Right.
There's a whole nother level. Yeah. No.
Right. I am with y'all, because let me tell y'all, I have no shame in my game in saying, yeah, this is above me. I can't do it. But lest we forget, I have holy water that has been anointed by a priest in a little basket over here. Like, if I do not know what to do, if this is beyond me, I at least need to be prepared to be like, go away. Because, like you guys were saying, that is a form of PTSD. And my ancestors and my spirit guides know, they already know I'm scary. They already know I'm scary. That's why they don't appear to me in human form, because I jump at horror movies in the house and will stay up with all the lights on. Like, I'm that person, which is funny because I'm a medium, but my mother and my sister will be walking in public and my mom goes, oh Lord. You know, she just turned 70, so she's got that old soul, you know, clutch the pearls. Oh Lord. And this me, I just pretend like I don't hear it. Because I already know what she saw. She saw a soul that was lost, or she saw, you know, something like that. Or we'll be driving. Oh Lord, I'm gonna just pray for this person. And I just turn up the radio because I don't need to know what she's seeing. I don't need to deal with that. So yes, that I am 100% with y'all on that. I am not prepared. I'm not equipped.
I don't think people know that, like, and I'm just gonna put it out there. If you pray for somebody and they have a dark attachment, that opens a connection.
Yes, it does.
You and that thing. And you better be ready to take it on.
It does. It really does, because you are opening your energy and exchanging, oh, I want to bring this person blessings. I want to bring this person peace, you know, without even knowing what their attachments are. What makes this gift very hard is being around children, because I'm in education.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that I can hear that's going on, and you want to help those babies so much because they're still children.
Yeah.
But you can't do that in the public school system without being burned at the stake or being called to the board meeting, you know. So it's very hard because they're, for the most part, innocent, and they're still finding out who they are as people. So energy attaches to them very easily, depending on the clique of friends they're hanging out with, what's happening at home. So you know, praying for a person or putting your energy out there for an exchange is something that could be potentially dangerous if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put up your protections if you're going to do
You
that.
have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
In our situation, I had to go deep and call for backup because I needed reinforcement. I got it,
Yeah.
thankfully,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because nothing was working.
Mm-mm.
But this is an interesting segue to the next question, which is there a hell? We've seen evidence of heaven. Is there
These
hell?
are good questions.
Balance things.
These are good questions. Okay, so this is going to sound crazy, but I know you guys won't think I'm crazy.
People think,
Oh Lord, hold on. Okay, so here, all right. So I was, you know, born and raised in the Baptist church. So I cannot sit here and say yes or no to one thing, because one thing I do know about myself is our past, and anyone, our past does help shape us, you know. So even getting into metaphysics and hoodoo, and you know, how I decide to utilize my practice, I always have that itty bitty nagging voice in the back, you know, after sitting in the pews for 13 years. And if you've ever been to a Black church, it's like 4 hours, you know, every Sunday, 4 or 5 hours listening to Reverend, you know, so up for 13 years. I still believe, that there's a punishment. I believe there's a punishment because you have to do right by people. On that same note, I believe Earth is our punishment. I believe Earth is our punishment. Depending on how many times you reincarnate, you still not getting it. You still not getting it. So we're going to send you back to learn. But when you learn something, there's suffering involved, right? I think the hell that is often depicted, that we know of the flames and the eternal torturing and the devil, I would take that any day over than coming back and living through another pandemic, or living through, you know, watching somebody that I genuinely care about die slowly. Because if you really think about what we experience on earth, that is a type of hell.
Oh, yeah.
That is a type of hell. Because if I was at least dancing in the flames, I could at least twerk knowing when the little torches are about to go off on a 7 and an 8. In life, you can't prepare yourself for that. You can't prepare for the loss of a parent. How do you prepare for the loss of a child or going through pandemics? I just saw on TikTok what happened in what there was a high tide. Where was it, in San Diego
It
or
was,
something?
it was in California.
Laguna.
Santa Cruz? No, I think, not Laguna.
It was something
It's
like
up-
things like that. People minding their own business and then getting, tossed in the street, drowning in the street. You tell me that's not hell. I'm just taking my family on a vacation. We're looking at the ocean. That is an instance of hell. Having your heart broken by somebody that you genuinely trusted and you're now questioning your entire existence. That's hell. Seeing a parent, and this is something personal for me, seeing a parent who you love deeply, my father, battling Parkinson's disease for 20 years is hell, because that was the most active man I knew. And to see him now struggling to get out of a chair or falling, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to cry on y'all's show, or falling, that's hell. To see my stepfather go through cancer 3 times, stage 5 lymphoma, but beat it every time. That's hell. So to answer your question, I think there is a hell, but how it's depicted varies from person to person. I don't know. I'm hoping I can do right in this lifetime to only come back and deal with this 3, 4 more times, because this is crazy. The pandemic was hell. Bodies piled up outside of hospitals because there's not enough space. Racial hate crimes, to people who looked of Asian descent was hell. 9/11 was hell. I remember watching that in my 8th grade science teacher's classroom. And the only way I can explain it to people today when my students ask me about it, I said, have you ever stepped in an ant pile? And they're like, yeah. You know how the ants kind of fall off the side, like where they can't hang on and they just kind of, figure it out? Yeah, that's what 9/11 looked like, but with people. When you're put in counseling, the entire school is put in counseling for 3 weeks because it was traumatic. The teachers didn't know to turn that off. They were just in as much shock as we were. So we're watching it. That's hell. Before it was COVID, oh Lord, what was the scare? Not the swine flu, anthrax. Y'all remember the anthrax thing?
Yeah.
That was hell. So I think hell really depends on how the person depicts it. Definitely. And in my personal opinion, not trying to get too off topic here, this AI shit, that's all I'm gonna say. This is getting too strange. Like robots are turning against humans. Did y'all read the Tesla robot that attacked that man?
They that was a couple years ago. I know they just put it out. I think it was a malfunctioning robot arm, but I don't think it was like the term.
Okay, because either way, I'm like, because it's getting strange. Like I was telling you both that I'm in the middle of moving and whatnot while my other house is being built, and I went to Best Buy to buy a little portable speaker. And so I'm living with my boyfriend now, and I go to check out, and it was my boyfriend's address. It wasn't my old address. I said, how did y'all know I was at this address?
Right.
Well, the system just updated. What do you mean? Like, that's a hell for me. Like, where is the privacy at? I didn't tell the post office to update you. How did you know? Our phone's listening to us all the time. All of a sudden, the things that you were talking about are starting to pop up on your Facebook. They're starting to pop up in your algorithms, things like that. It's fascinating, but it's like, where's the line being drawn before this gets out of control?
The thing
For sure.
Things we think about that pop up in our stream.
Yes.
Never talked about it, never looked at it or anything, just an idea popped into your head and all of a sudden stuff along
You
that
see
line
it.
goes,
Mhm.
it's like, that's creepy. That's
Yeah.
not fun. That's not cool. That's just creepy.
No, not at all. It is very strange. I've even had, I'm not going to say her name because I don't want to wake her, the little round computer that's on my nightstand. All of a sudden just start talking to me out of the blue like crazy. Like, what's really, like, I wasn't trying to get your like, it's, anyways, going back to the heaven or hell thing, it depends on what is hell for you. I think living is a form of hell. There's
Definitely.
happy moments in it, but it's a form of hell.
Gonna create your own prison then.
Yeah.
Yes. Like I'm sorry, that was an amazing question, because now I'm just thinking of things that I see every day when I see homeless people, because most of us are 1 or 2 paychecks away from being homeless. That's it. Okay. When I'm driving downtown or see a homeless person and winter is approaching, like rough winter is
Yeah.
approaching, how does that person not feel? This isn't a person that has given up, and moved into a tiny home. This is a person that has their dog and a grocery cart. That's hell. Being out in 19-degree weather, that's hell. The natural disasters, the wildfires that we see, that's hell. Like that, yeah. So that was I like that question. I've never been asked that question.
Conversely, there are things in this life.
Yes.
It's a weird dichotomy of both.
Yeah.
We're kind of an in-between state here, maybe limbo. Maybe not
Absolutely.
quite hell.
Absolutely. That was a great, I've never been asked that question.
Well, we're digging for, like, I mean, and it's a basic question to ask, right? Like, because we all want to know.
Right.
Not that I'm afraid of going there, but
Right.
it's good to know.
Absolutely.
Be sure to return for part 2 with the Inked Intuitive.